Hi, good morning. Welcome to this lecture series on basic English grammar organized by Mata Gujri College, Fatehgarh, Sahib. I, Brahmjot Kaur, Assistant Professor from the Department of English, shall be your facilitator during this lecture series. During the course of this lecture series, we shall be covering some basic concepts of English grammar like subject, object, nouns, verbs, prepositions, pronouns, adverbs, adjectives, and tenses. The basic aim of this lecture series is to reiterate or revise for you some basic concepts of grammar so as to strengthen your conceptual knowledge of these and also to make you a little more comfortable in using English as your everyday conversational tool. So let's begin. The first two concepts that we are going to talk about are subject and object. These are two very important elements of a sentence. Subject is that word or that element of the sentence which is being talked about, the thing being talked about. The subject is the doer of an action in a sentence. So the subject can be a noun, a pronoun, or a noun phrase that does the action. On the contrary, an object will be the receiver of the action that is being done by the subject. So the object will be a noun which is being acted upon or is the beneficiary of an action being done by the subject. Predicate is a lesser used term these days. Predicate is that part of the sentence which describes the action of the subject. Now, coming to a few examples which will make clear to you the distinction between the subject and the object. Through these examples, it will also become clear to you the four basic kinds of sentences that we use in English. First, the declamatory or assertive kind of sentences. In declamatory sentences, you put forth a point of view. You are making a statement. You assert something. You state something. Second, interrogative sentences, wherein you are making a question. You are asking something. You are putting forth a question. Third, exclamatory sentences. Sometimes when you are overcome with some intense emotion, then you utter some sentences. Maybe you are very happy, you are too elated, you are in grief or sorrow. So such sentences are called exclamatory sentences. And fourth are imperative sentences wherein you are giving a command, you are making a request or seeking permission. So let's come to the examples now. The word which is underlined is the subject part of the sentence, and the word which is in bold is the object part of the sentence. So the first sentence, you shouldn't lie to anyone. So you, the doer of the sentence, the doer of the action, the main person being talked about is therefore the subject, and the receiver of the action, anyone, will be the object. Example 2. Delhi is the capital of India. So Delhi, the main thing being talked about, is the subject, and India, the receiver, becomes the object. Instagram is immensely popular with youth these days. So Instagram, the main thing being talked about, becomes the subject, and youth, the receiver, becomes the object. Now, here it is important to realize that subject is not necessarily the first word in every sentence. So let's come to interrogative sentences. Have you ever lied to anyone? So you, the doer of this action, is the subject but not the first word in the sentence. Now, the object in this sentence is anyone. So you can even mention the object, and in some cases you can even omit the object where it is self-explanatory. Third kind of sentences, exclamatory sentences. Example, how you have changed. What a beautiful face she has. In both the sentences, you have the subject, but the object is missing. Now, there are sentences where you can have the subject, you cannot have the subject, you cannot have the object, and sometimes even both of them are missing. So, examples, please get me a glass of water. So, me is the receiver. The object is present, but the subject, doer, you please get me a glass of water. So, this is a request I am posing to someone. So, you is self explanatory, and therefore we can omit the subject. So, keep quiet, go straight, turn left, all these are commands. In all of these, both the subject and the object are missing. Now, coming to the next important concept that we are going to cover today, nouns. A noun is a word that is the name of something, such as a person, an animal, a place, a thing, or an idea. So, nouns are mostly used as subjects and objects in a sentence. Now, there are roughly 10 kinds of nouns, so we'll do them in groups of two. So coming to common noun and proper noun. So since noun is a name of a person, animal, place or thing. So when this person, animal, place or thing is non-specific, it is called common noun. But when this becomes specific, it is called proper noun. Like if I say a girl, it is a common noun. But if I say Monica, it is a proper noun. If I say a city or a village, it's a common noun. But if I say London or Malgudi, these are proper nouns. Likewise, if I say a toy, it is a common noun. But if I say specifically Tambola, it will be a proper noun. So now let's come to third and fourth kind of nouns, the concrete nouns and abstract nouns. So concrete nouns are those which you can perceive through your sense organs. Maybe they are tangible, you can touch them, you can feel them. So concrete nouns are those which you can perceive with your five senses. So an apple, lion, eyes, flowers, all of these, keys, all of these are concrete nouns. While abstract nouns are those which cannot be perceived with your senses. So any belief, any advice, I repeat, not an advice, but an advice, love, pride, all these emotions, they are abstract nouns. Now coming to fifth and sixth kind of nouns, countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Countable nouns are those which you can count them, like pencils, like keys. You can tell the number, specific number. But uncountable nouns are those which you cannot count. Maybe you can measure them. For example, you can measure milk in liters. You can measure water. You can measure the depth of water, but you cannot count it. So those which are countable nouns. Those which cannot be counted, they can be measured, however, but they are uncountable nouns like milk, music, food, water, snow, rice, etc. Now, seventh kind of noun is compound noun. Now, compound nouns are those which are made up of two smaller words like text plus book will become a compound noun, textbook. Sun plus flower will become sunflower. Seafood likewise, and snowball, and many such examples. Now I shall cover the ninth and the 10th kind of nouns and then come back to the 8th. So ninth and the 10th, singular nouns and plural nouns. Singular when you refer to one person, any one place, any one thing or idea, it is called singular noun, like a cat, dog, ship, monkey, a singular emotion. So it will be a singular noun. Plural will be when you refer to more than one person, place, things or ideas. Dogs, cats, ships and babies. Now coming to collective nouns. Collective nouns, when you have a group of things which are similar to each other, like you have 20 flowers, so you can call it a bouquet of flowers. So collective nouns are used when you refer to a group of things and you take that entire group as one entity. It is important to realize that with a collective noun, you will use a singular verb because the collective noun will be referred to as one complete entity. Here I am going to point out some commonly used collective nouns like herd. It is used for a group of herbivore animals like herd of cattle. Pack is used for a group of carnivore animals like pack of wolves or pack of dogs. It can also be used for a pack of cards. Flock is used for a group of birds. It is also used to describe hoofed animals like sheep or goats. Swarm is used for a group of insects like swarm of bees. Bunch is usually used for a group of grapes, flowers, keys or bananas. Pile or heap is used for a group of untidy collection of things. For example, a pile of rubbish, a pile of unused papers. So stack is used when you have a neatly arranged group of items, for example, a stack of books in a library. Now, here it is important to point out that collective noun is one entity and therefore a singular verb will be used with them. So that will be all for today. I hope now you have a fair idea about subject, object, and nouns, and you will be able to recognize them in sentences. Before leaving you, I am giving you 3 words which are neither synonyms nor are they homophones, but we use them incorrectly in everyday parlance. These are cautious, conscious, and conscience. Do find out their meanings. Thank you.